Namaskar. Hello, friends. We are looking at chapter 4 of the Gita. Today, we are starting with verses 19 and 20 of chapter 4. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kamasankalpa vivarjitaha jnanagni karmanam tamahu panditam budhaha त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासंगम नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तः अपि नैव किंचित करोति सः. Literal meaning: one who begins his karmas without any mission statement or desire for fruit is regarded by the wise men as a knowledgeable man whose all karmas have been burnt away by the fire of wisdom. One who gives up the desire for the fruit of his karma and always remains satiated in bliss and never clings on to anything, such a person, even while doing all kinds of karmas, is in reality not doing anything. Practical insight. These verses basically put forth the concept of performing karma without bothering about its outcome, but they link it to the idea of non-doership. Non-doership does not mean doing nothing. It means not keeping an objective in mind while performing any action. When we have some objective, we perform some action that we think can achieve that objective. Then we think we are the doer of that action and also believe that because we are taking that action, we must get its fruit. However, a truly spiritual person will not perform action for achieving a particular objective. His action will be decided and driven by the situation at the given moment. In other words, he has a firm belief that he is always being used as an instrument by the divine and that he has nothing to get or achieve from the actions happening through his body. Such actions are beautifully described by way of the metaphor of sowing roasted seeds. Roasted seeds, if sown, can never germinate. Likewise, actions without any particular fruit in mind do not count as karma. On the contrary, actions towards a desired objective are like live seeds and will always germinate and grow into plants of karma to bear bitter or sweet fruits of worldly experiences, causing pain or happiness. But I can't help thinking that the attitude as above is possible only when one starts developing vairagya bhav. If one is still interested in worldly life, it is impossible to not have any objectives at all and yet just keep performing action. Now verses 21 to 23 of chapter 4. Nirashira yatachitat chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevala karma kuruvan apnoti kilbisham yadruchha labha santushto dvandvatito vimatsaraha samah siddhava siddhau cha krutvapi na nibadhyate gatasangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasaha yajñāyācharatah karma samagram praviliyate. Literal meaning: one who has discarded all hope, or let us say desire, has kept his mind and intelligence under his control and hence has discarded all the tendencies to accumulate possessions. Such a person, even if he performs some minimum karmas for sustaining his body, he is not bound by those karmas. One who is satisfied with whatever comes his way naturally and who has transcended all the duality, who is without envy and who does not feel good or bad when his karma fructifies or does not fructify, such a person, even though performing all the karmas, is not bound by them. One who has no attachments and has transcended all the restrictions of dharma adharma and whose mind has become steady on spiritual wisdom, such a person may be performing karma for the sake of completing the yajna, and hence his karma vanishes together with its fruit. Practical insight. These verses beautifully describe how a self-realized person leads his life. Essentially, they emphasize vairagya, a total disinterest in worldly life. A self-realized person has transcended his limited bodily identity and hence all the duality. So for him, external objects of desire are not different from his self, and hence there is no question of a desire to obtain that object. Also, the different mental perceptions of pain and pleasure have ceased to exist for him as a consequence of non-dual state of mind. What it means is that he has no desires of his own, and hence naturally his activities come down drastically. However, such a person continues doing his karma to the minimum extent as required. Only his bodily sustenance and situational demands of worldly duty dictate a small set of karma, which is not binding because it is not desire driven. Verse 24 of chapter 4. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagnau Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Literal meaning. The various materials and equipment used in yajna, the fire, hota, that is the main Brahmin performing the yajna rituals, and the ritual of putting the different materials into yajna fire are all Brahman as far as such a Brahmanishtha person is concerned. And the fruit that such a Brahmanishtha gets, who is engrossed in performing karma that is Brahman for him, is also himself Brahman. Practical insight. A self-realized person is in a non-dual state of mind. Such a person keeps performing due karmas, but he does not see any distinction between the doer of the karma, the action itself, and the outcome of it. It's all the singular, Brahman, for him. It can also be regarded as the state of a true karma yogi. Verses 33 to 37 of chapter 4. Shreyan dravyamayad yajnyaha parantapa sarvam karma khilam partha dnyane parisamapyate tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te dnyanam dnyaninas yajnanyatva न पुनर्मोहमेवं यास्यसि पांडव येन भूतानि अशेषेण द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि यथैधांसि समिद्धः अग्निर्भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात कुरुते तथा. Literal meaning. O Arjuna, Jnana Yajna is superior to Dravya Yajna because all karmas are subsumed in Jnana. If one desires to obtain that wisdom, he should pay his respects to wise people, serve them, and then request for the wisdom. Then they will preach that wisdom. O Arjuna, once you acquire that dnyana, you will never again fall into this kind of illusion of duality. And with that dnyana, you will see all these beings in you and in me as well. Even if you are the biggest sinner, you will be able to cross this ocean of sin easily by means of the boat of dnyana. O Arjuna, fire burns wood into ashes. Likewise, the fire of dnyana burns all the karma into ashes. Practical insight. The previous verses talk about various types of yajnas, that is fire rituals, which essentially involve various offerings to God. These two verses describe the superiority of dnyana, that is spiritual wisdom, and the way to obtain it. In my understanding, dnyana is not knowledge as we understand it. It is not something that is captured in words and stored in our memory to be quoted chapter and verse. It is not that kind of bookish knowledge. Instead, it is a wholly different perception that allows a completely different view of the creation. Imagine a very large wall painting. If you stand too close to it, you will not understand it because you can see only a part of it. But if you stand at an appropriate distance, you will be able to take in the whole picture. Spiritual wisdom is something similar. We are ordinarily too close to the worldly life and hence have only a limited and hence incorrect view. We need to stand at a distance from the worldly life, and then our view will be complete and correct. This is what spiritual wisdom or dhyana is, and it comes only by the grace of a self-realized guru. For that, a seeker has to serve the guru sincerely by giving up his ego completely and focusing only on serving the guru with his body, mind, and soul. Then the guru will bestow that special ability to stand apart and view the big picture. That is dnyana. Dnyana is actually a wholly different perspective of looking at the creation. It is a non-dual perception. Everything is just one. There is no I and the rest at all. There is no good or bad, desirable or undesirable. Everything simply is. There is no judgment. In such an enlightened state of dnyana, whatever one may be doing is immaterial to him. It is like removing colored glasses from your eyes and then suddenly seeing totally different colors of things around. I will stop here. We will continue the next time. Until then, bye. Take care.